Are you ready to get your fantasy on? Here's Show Us Your TDs. It's grind time!
Let's go! Ayo, welcome back to another week of Show Us Your TDs. It's your favorite milk chocolate beverage, Melky, and he's all greased up, ready to start stuffing turkeys. It's why? It's America Thanksgiving, that's why. And I'm joined by my co-host Goobie, a man who claimed he hates turkey dinners, but you're an expert baster. What's up with that, Goobie? How are you, bro?
Well, first of all, I hate turkey. I prefer ham. And I just want to let you know, okay, that you're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying son of a gun. And I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. You know why? Because I'm 6 in a row right now. I'm killing it.
Goobie, you ain't got no damn Rolex.
I don't. I actually do have a fake one from New York.
Yeah, so do I.
But yeah, man, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. How are you, Melk?
I'm all right, just living the dream, the school dream that is. People love Christmas, but nothing compares to American Thanksgiving. I know we have it up here in Canada, but I really wish they would adapt the American way. It's just the best of time. I like it actually more than Christmas. And it just makes football that much better.
Well, I mean, we have our own Thanksgiving.
I know, but it's not as good as the US.
Why is that?
Because it's on a Thursday, right before Friday. They've got the big parade, 3 football games on from lunch, afternoon, and dinner. What more could you ask for? You just stuff yourself until you pass out. I mean, it's just perfect.
Well, I didn't like this American Thanksgiving because I got COVID. So
Well, that sounds like a you problem.
it definitely is a me problem. So listeners out there, if my voice sounds a little fucked up, it's because I got COVID.
I think it kind of suits you, man. Maybe you might want to adapt that voice.
Maybe I'll just keep COVID with me.
Oh,
All right. Enough talk. Let's get into some fantasy talk. Melky, I'm going to start us off because obviously the listeners heard. I'm 6 in a row now. I beat Timmy, the tight end Timmy.
that's not his name.
I know. Tight end Timmy. Okay, look, you're going to have to deal with me a little bit. I'm a little groggy, a little woozy, but we'll get through it. Tight end Timmy, I beat him 131 to 107. And I'm going to do the Melky thing and give a little shout out to a couple people. Tony Pollard, 33 points, 2 touchdowns, 109 reception yards, 80 yards rushing, and that's with Zeke Elliott on the field. All right. Kirk Cousins, what the fuck, man? What did I trade AJ Brown for? For 3 points? You gotta do better than that. I know. I mean, it was Tua's bye week, so Kirk Cousins probably gonna ride the pine for the rest of the season. But I expected more. T. Higgins 19 points, Austin Eckler 17 points, Daniel Carlson 14 points. That's right.
He's still not better than Tucker.
So yeah, I mean, 6 straight. I'm on a fucking roll right now. Melky, how did you do this week?
Well, I'm not on any damn roll because I lost to Mike 143.7 to 127.5. Goobs, who the fuck would have thought that porn star Jimmy would have a coming out party? He was my demise. Like, I just can't catch a break this season. Bro, he had 228 yards, 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns. When has Jimmy G ever thrown for 4 touchdowns?
I don't think ever.
Yeah, and of course, my luck, he decides he wants to be a good quarterback and be the nail in my coffin for last week. So I'm going to do something a little different. I usually have my calling out name segment because my team likes to piss me off more than actually make me happy. But I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to put the blame squarely on me
Okay.
because if I had played Najee Harris, I would have beat him by 7. Najee decided, hey, I want to be good at football again and have a breakout week with 90 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 26 receiving yards. He had 27 fantasy points.
Yeah.
That sunk me, man. That sunk me. That's on me. I went and started Robinson Jr., who's a fucking scrub. Big mistake. I should have thrown in Najee like I wanted to and not listened to the stupid experts because the experts don't know shit.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's
it's it's it's
basically
hard.
on my last life.
Yeah, it's hard to listen to those experts and then you don't go with your gut. I mean, we've all seen it in fantasy football. We all bench somebody and then they go off for fucking 30 points and you're just like, what the fuck?
Well, not
So
only him, Zeke went off. Well, Zeke didn't go off, but he had 17 points. It was still better than what Robinson put up.
yeah. Well, I mean, fuck, last year I would have won. I would have won it all last year if I played my bench
Yeah,
because my bench balled out during the finals, and I would have won.
but
So
that's fantasy for you.
that is fantasy. Melky, what's your next matchup like?
Well, I'm playing the guy you beat up on last weekend, the one you roughed up, shook him
Yes.
down, made him feel even more worthless because he's sitting in last place. This is the battle of the bottom feeders. It's 10th versus 9th. It's Deflate This versus Tight End Timmy. And the projections are 131 for moi and 138 for him. I mean, they're slowly changing because shit's happening. And I will read you the head to head matchups, and they're not very pretty.
All right.
Quarterbacks, we've got our beloved Dak Prescott versus Justin Herbert. A man you just mentioned, AJ Brown, who hasn't done shit since I acquired him, versus Stephon Diggs.
We both lost in that trade. It's okay.
I think so. I think so. I healthy again, and God knows how long for Keenan Allen versus Allen Robinson II. Christian Kirk is back from a bye week. He'll face off against Tyler Lockett. And we got the juggernaut running back battle with Christian McCaffrey versus Alvin Kamara. Zeke Elliott versus Kenneth Walker III. Tyler Higbee, who might not be playing, and I might have to go grab someone because he's got a swollen knee, versus Dalton Schultz. Najee Harris, the man that I should have played last week. He'll be facing Jeff Wilson Jr., Goobie's favorite running back. The kickers, we got Tyler Bass and Jason Myers. Rounding off, I'm sitting the Buffalo defense this week, going KC because they've been playing well, versus Baltimore. Goobs, it's the battle of the shit.
Yeah.
Who's going to be less shitty? Tell me. I want to know.
Well, I mean, if Zeke can get some yards and just not steal touchdowns from Tony Pollard, you have a chance of winning this because that's all Zeke has been doing is stealing touchdowns, but not making any yards. So I think if Zeke starts to, become that number one again, I think you can do pretty well. Keenan Allen, it's rough to say how long he's going to stay on the field for.
You got to
But
play him. Like, I don't want to, like, it sucks because I got to sit Olave because Olave's been stellar, but Mike Williams isn't playing this week.
yeah, and he's playing a San Fran defense that's
Yeah,
pretty stoked. So
exactly.
Treylon Burks though,
I ain't playing Traylon Burks. So I'm not playing Traylon over AJ, Keenan,
But
or Christian Kirk
there's a reason why I'm bringing up Traylon Burks,
because you wanted him.
because I got a couple squares. I got my first TD with Traylon Burks.
You did.
I did. And I got a little bit more. I got, where is it here? I got 5 receptions in a game with Traylon Burks. And I got a 100-yard game with Traylon Burks. That puts me in.
Traylon. He's saying his name wrong.
Yeah, I said Traylon.
Traylon.
Yeah.
No, you said Trayvon.
No, I said Traylon. I'm
No,
sick, bro.
all right.
I can't help it.
All right, my bad. Go
But
on.
that puts me in the front runnings in the rookie tic-tac-toe right now. Just saying.
Because London sucks, man. Like he did one thing early, first game of the year, and hasn't done shit ever since.
Anyways, no, I do think you have a great shot of battling the least over here. Uh, you never know what Miami's going to do with Jeff Wilson Jr. Like, is it going to be Jeff Wilson or is it going to be
Mozart,
right? You just never know. So I think you have this in the bag.
I hope so. You know what? I'm actually cheering for Tua to throw the ball more
There we
and not
go.
run it because I just don't want to lose to Jeff Wilson.
Speaking of Tua, let's get to my matchup this week.
Nah, nobody cares. No, just kidding.
Well, I mean, I care. I don't know if anybody else cares. But yeah, we'll start with my matchup. Tua Tagovailoa versus Joe Burrows. That's going to be a good battle.
I'm giving it to Burrow.
You giving it to Burrow in Tennessee?
I just think Joe is better.
Well, Joe is better, but Tua just puts up points somehow. I don't know how.
Tua can't throw past 15 yards. It's
That's
mind-boggling.
okay. Tyreek Hill does the rest.
Yeah, no kidding.
CD Lamb versus Devontae Smith. T. Higgins versus Chris Godwin. Hopkins versus Michael Gallup. Austin Eckler versus Josh Jacobs. Tony Pollard versus David Montgomery. Freiermuth.
I think it's Fairmouth.
I don't fucking know. The tight end for Pittsburgh.
He's good.
George Kittle.
I regret dropping him.
Terry McLaurin versus James Conner. Daniel Carlson versus McLaughlin.
McLaughlin.
Okay. And then San Fran defense versus Washington defense. Melky, do I finally take an L?
No, because I was telling you this before we started the pod. She's turned into you. And if you don't know what that means, Goobie is probably one of the worst people to trade with. He lives in a fantasy world, but this year I'll give him a lot of credit. He's matured. He's realized that you can't just take someone's best player for your bench. So I guess Jen didn't get the memo that you don't do that. And she's become like the new Goobie. And when you try to trade with her, you'll make something pretty fair. And then she'll counter offer with your best player like AJ Brown for some scrub you never heard of. And it's just like, are you on crack? So personally, I would love for you to kick her ass and ruin her chances of making the playoffs because she doesn't deserve to be in the playoffs. And she needed a wide receiver, and she has 4 running backs who she won't use, because you can only play 3 or 2. And she needed a wide receiver, and I gave her a really fair trade, Keenan Allen for Patterson, and she declined it. And hasn't used Patterson since. So I'm cheering for you, buddy. You're going to destroy her.
I hope so. Make it 7 in a row. I'll take it. But yeah,
that's what she said.
But yeah, I hope I can win. I think Hopkins is going to obviously have a game, and Austin Eckler is going to have a game. So, and Terry McLaurin, I think he's going to put up over 20.
you have the wide receiver battle. It's not even close. Like, she lost Cooper Kupp, and all she has is Godwin. Godwin hasn't been good because Brady hasn't been good. Devontae is the second fiddle. He's been okay, but he's the second fiddle to AJ. And Michael Gallup hasn't done anything at all.
Yeah.
So it sucks to be her.
Yeah.
But you know who doesn't suck?
Who doesn't suck?
The Dallas Cowboys.
We don't suck.
Not at all. They just embarrassed the Vikings. 40-3, Goobie. And sidebar, you know who you are. Your Vikings aren't good, and you're just lucky I didn't gloat in person to you after we stomped you.
It's okay. I still have a photo of Melky wearing a Vikings hat.
That's because I lost a bet a couple of years ago. It's a new day. Dak Prescott probably had one of his best games statistically. 276, 2 TDs, 16 rushing yards, but 22 for 25, Goobie.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
And a man you acquired from me, who has done nothing for you thus far, Kirk Cousins, a man that the Cowboys have his number. He only had 105 yards, went 12 for 23, and put up donuts the rest of the way. He now falls to 2-9 all time versus the Cowboys. So Goobs, with this beat down, and it's actually the best road win in Cowboys franchise history. Did we expose the Vikings?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's hard to say because like the Vikings are great, but something was off that day. And I mean, it could just be the run game that they can't stop because like Pollard and Zeke just put it on them, and Dak was just lights out with the side passing to Tony Pollard. Like the check down passes, I think that's where the Vikings are not that great because the check down passes is what got Dallas the win. So
They're also the only team that has a plus record that has more points scored on them than they have scored themselves. So that is alarming too. I think defense is an issue over there. The new coach likes offense more, so maybe the emphasis is more on offense.
yeah.
But you're leading the North and you're a Super Bowl contending team. You might want to get that shit together.
Yeah, I agree. But someone who needs to get their shit together, the New York Giants, because they lost to Detroit Lions. Who loses to the Detroit Lions? 30.
Couple other teams because they're on a 3-game winning streak now.
I see that. 31-18. Okay. Now, Daniel Jones, 27 of 44. 341 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 INTs. 7 carries for 50 yards and a touchdown. Like, your stats are okay, but like, what is going on? You guys are supposed to be like a really good team right now. You're 7-2. So what how do you lose?
They're 7-3 now.
The 7-3?
Yeah, with that loss to the Detroit.
Oh, right, 7-3. My bad. Sorry. But yeah, I don't see how you can lose to Detroit. I mean, Saquon Barkley, he didn't really do much that game. 15 carries, 22 yards. Daniel Jones had more yards than him. Melky, what happened to the Giants?
What do you mean what happened to them? They have Daniel Jones as their quarterback. That should just be enough right there. He's not a leader. He's not going to get this team over the hump. He's just not that guy. And it's crazy because I was going to ask you, does Daniel Jones hold this team back? And I think you and I both can agree he does.
Yeah.
They need a quarterback. They need to, in the offseason, if they're as good as they are, or if they say they are, or what their record shows, they need to go out in the offseason and get a quarterback because they're wasting Saquon. They're wasting this defense. They're wasting some of these receivers. And New York, they've been patient long enough. They've been crap long enough. So let's reward them with a quarterback and get rid of fucking Danny Dimes.
And they definitely got to be worried because the next 3 games, all division games, they're playing against the Cowboys, which is going to be a really hard game. They're playing against Washington, who somehow has come back to life, and they're playing the Eagles, who have been dominating the whole season. And then they play Washington again. So they need to step up their game.
Are they going 0-3?
I think so.
So do I. Fuck New York. But hey.
Yeah,
Oh,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It's all you. It's all you, my friend.
I was gonna say, well, let's go to Detroit, but actually not talk about Detroit because we just did. And it's the Buffalo Bills bouncing back against the Cleveland Browns, 31-23 in Detroit. The Goobs, remind everyone why this game was played there.
Because Buffalo got like 6 feet of snow. And I got half of it. So, I mean, but like the videos and the photos, damn, like there was no way anybody could play in that.
Yeah, it was crazy. And you know what else is crazy? Josh Allen not really doing anything. He went for 197, a TD, 18 for 27, rushed only 7 yards. But Jacoby Brissett, man, he had a game. 324 yards, 3 TDs, 29 rushing yards.
Yeah.
Does Watson need to come back? No, I'm just kidding. They paid all that capital. They're going to take that slippery bastard. People Jones, a man who's been hot, just hasn't found the end zone. He had a nice game. 6 targets, 61 yards, a touchdown. But the hero was the Buffalo Bills kicker, Tyler Bass. Game-winning field goal. He got me 23 fantasy points, Goobs.
Yeah, he killed it.
It's pretty stellar.
Yeah.
So, with this win, are the Bills about to go on a roll?
Let's see who they play.
Well, they're going back to Detroit.
Yeah, they go back to Detroit, which they already won in Detroit, so I mean, they're probably going to win again in Detroit. Then they play the Patriots, which is a win. And then they play the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that could be stingy, depending, and I'll talk about it a little bit later. But I think they could go on a roll.
Enough to win the division?
Oh, that's a little. The Dolphins, who do they play? Let's see. I'm just going to look at who they play now. Dolphins play the Texans, win. Dolphins play the 49ers. Tough game.
I like the 49ers in that one.
Dolphins play the Chargers. I think the Dolphins can win that. Then the Dolphins play. So that's where it's going to go down to. Dolphins play the Bills December 18th.
In Buffalo or in Miami?
In Buffalo. It says to be determined. I don't know why. It's probably because it's going to be a primetime game.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't put a timestamp on it yet. So obviously that's probably, it's probably going to be a primetime game. So that's where it's going to come down to. I think whoever wins that game will take that division.
Yeah, it's going to be close. That division is pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's pretty stellar. Pretty stellar. But let's talk about a division that was supposed to be pretty fucking good. Let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs and their win over Los Angeles Chargers. Told you so, by the way. We all heard it when I said the Chiefs are going to win.
I already conceded that KC is the best team. I already said all hail the Chiefs.
All right. KC wins 30-27 against the Chargers. Patrick Mahomes, 20 of 34, 329 yards, 3 touchdowns. Pacheco, 15 carries, 107 yards, no touchdowns. But Travis Kelce putting on a clinic. as per usual. 6 receptions, 115 yards, 3 touchdowns. Your boy Justin Herbert over there, I know he's not your boy anymore because you don't have him.
That's right.
23 of 30, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Josh Palmer, I don't know who the fuck this guy is.
You don't know
But
Palmer? He's been taking the snaps since Williams and Allen have both been out.
yeah, but he hasn't showed up like he did last
Sunday?
week.
No, he's been okay, but this was like his coming out party.
8 receptions, 106 yards, 2 touchdowns. I guarantee you so many people randomly picked him up off the wire for no reason because Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are both back.
Well, Allen's had him for a while. Actually, Tim had him, and they made a minor trade that was with that Ravens wide receiver, and then Tim dropped him right after. In typical Tim fashion.
Anyways, I know you've already said it, but this division, fuck man, like KC 8-2 now. Are they the front runners to go back to the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they stand head and shoulders above everyone else. And actually, not just in the AFC, in the league. I actually think they're the best team in the NFL right now.
Okay. Over the Bills?
Over the Bills, over the Eagles, over the Cowboys. Yeah, everyone. It's the Chiefs and everyone else.
All right. Well, now that we're talking about the AFC West, let's get to our AFC West bulletin. Da-na-na.
That's not a bulletin noise.
I don't know what a bulletin noise would be. Anyways, let's go over the rankings. Chiefs stay on top. The Chargers are second. The Las Vegas Raiders are third. And the Denver Broncos are last. Wait, didn't I call it? I said this. I said Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, Broncos. And look at this. I'm correct at the moment. Chiefs win, Chargers lose. And let's talk about the Broncos and Raiders game, where the Raiders finally got a win, 22-16 over the Denver Broncos.
In OT.
And they're both tied 3-7, but the Raiders got the better hand now. So, Melky, does it stay like this?
I honestly think you picked my brain because I wrote the exact same question. Well, not nice. The same question, but are the Broncos going to stay in last for the rest of the season? And my answer is yes. Yes, they are. Broncos can't they can't score touchdowns. All they can do, their defense is great. But what's the point of having a great defense when you can't score?
Yeah, that's true.
Like let's ride to the bottom Wilson. His numbers are gross, like 24-31, 247 yards, 0 touchdowns. And Crybaby Carr, he was better, 307, 2 touchdowns, 23 of 37. But he has Devontae Adams. Look what Adams did. What did Adams do, Goobie?
7 receptions, 141 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Josh Jacobs, 24 carries, 109 yards. So, this is kind of the showing that everybody's been looking for out of the Raiders. And here they are.
Well, the Broncos are a mess, too. They just cut Melvin Butterfingers Gordon. Edmonds just got hurt.
Yeah.
So now your boy
Von Miller got hurt.
Von Miller plays for the Bills.
Oh, right. Dude, I'm fucking out of it.
Von Miller, remember, traded to the Rams.
I do remember, but I always hear Kevin chirping about Von Miller every fucking 5 seconds, so I still think he plays for the Broncos.
What the hell does Kevin have to chirp about this season?
Not a whole lot. 3-7.
Got nothing to cheer about. Nothing to gloat about. His team sucks. They're terrible. Worst trade in almost no. I wouldn't say the worst trade in NFL history, but it's a top 5 as one of the worst blundering trades in the NFL.
It was like me back in the day trying to trade trash for good.
Exactly. See, you learned. Now, will the Broncos learn? That's the
Probably
$1 million
not.
question.
Probably not.
Well, I'm just thankful I'm not a Broncos fan, and I'm sure you are too.
Oh, definitely.
But hey, since we're on the topic, Goobs, it's American Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Time to be thankful, to enjoy delicious food with your family, friends, and loved ones. So, Goobs, I want to know. I know it's not our Thanksgiving, but what are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for COVID because I get an extra long weekend. That's pretty much it.
That's all you're thankful for?
No, I'm thankful for my family for this podcast. Just to, shoot the shit with you is always a good time. Thankful for fantasy football. Makes football a little bit more interesting. I don't just watch the Cowboys game now. Kind of watch everything else.
Yeah, it definitely expands your football horizon. I'm thankful for the same thing: family, friends, this podcast, of course, white meat, stuffing, Thursday football, booze, strudel, poontang
Strudel.
pie, the NFL, and usually fantasy football. Not this season though, because I suck donkey balls.
What are you thankful for strudel for?
Think about it.
I, 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 I'm.
When this podcast is done, I want you to look up the meaning of strudel.
Isn't strudel like a fucking?
Pastry?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's another meaning.
Not that I know of, obviously.
Did you watch wrestling back in the day? Like when it was at his prime with The Rock, Stone Cold.
The Attitude Era? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now I see where you're going with this. Okay. No, I didn't fucking I'm
What
sick again.
translate?
Didn't get to my head. But Melky,
Yo.
other than strudel, let's talk 3 games. Buffalo versus Detroit, Giants versus the Cowboys, and New England versus Minnesota. Who do you have winning these games?
Well, we'll start with the 12:30 matchup. We've got the Buffalo Bills back in Detroit, looking to win twice in Detroit for the first time ever. And I like them to win.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Lions are playing great. Nice momentum especially after trading Hawkinson. You can see why they did because he's not looked too great in Minnesota. So they might be onto something. But I do like the Bills to win. I do like them. They're in a desperate spot because I think they want the division and they don't want to be a wild card team. So they need to win these games.
Yeah, I agree with you. Buffalo takes his hands down. I think it's going to be a big scoring game for Buffalo. But again, it's tough to say because they're also going to be on like a little bit of like no sleep because they flew out to Detroit. They probably didn't get to go home. They probably just stayed in Detroit. So I mean, yeah, they got hotels and shit, but it's a little rough when shit like that happens and they get snowed out.
I'm sure they got plenty of sleep because I'm not wandering the streets of Detroit. You know how dangerous that place is?
That's true. That's true.
And some of the
Giant
ugly, some of the ugliest people live there too. No offense.
Giants versus the Cowboys. I'm taking the Cowboys on this one. The Giants are looking good, but the Cowboys is just looking stellar right now, especially after that beatdown versus Minnesota. So yeah, I'm rolling with the Cowboys, obviously.
That makes
Melky.
that makes two of us.
I
I think the Cowboys are going to be in for some home cooking. It's Thanksgiving. It's a spectacle. Dallas always gets the Thursday Thanksgiving games because we're America's team, and so it's
that
going to be
we are.
fun. It's a division game. The Giants are pretenders, and as long as they have Daniel Jones, they're not doing anything else. when they play a good team. So I like the Cowboys. I like the Cowboys to win big, and it will solidify them in the number 2 spot in the division. So let's go Cowboys.
Does Pollard jump in the pot other than Zeke?
Pollard doesn't, but somebody does.
All right. All right.
I
All
just
right.
don't know who yet. I'll DM you and let you know.
All right. Cool.
Okay. Well, the last game, the nightcap, we've got the New England Patriots versus Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings. So, Goobs, Minnesota was embarrassed by our Cowboys. Do you think they put a beating on the Patriots?
It's in Minnesota, so I'm gonna say they're gonna win, but I don't think it's gonna be a beating. New England's been playing pretty good. Their defense is great. So yeah, it's gonna be tough, but I think Minnesota pulls it out. But I don't think it's gonna be a beating.
Yeah, New England just beat up on your New York Jets. And like I told you so, the Jets they're in a free fall because Zach Wilson, aka the Milk Hunter, I can't even call him the Milk Hunter because he's been so bad. He's
That is true.
he's been horrible, and I told you he needs to step up for this team to actually thrive, and he's just been flaming garbage. So fortunately for Minnesota, it's in Minnesota, and unfortunately for the Patriots, they're going to deal with a big juggernaut team. I don't think they can handle it. I agree it will be close, but I like Minnesota to win the nightcap.
All right, all right. You were speaking of Jets, so let's get to Boomer Bust.
Your
And,
favorite pastime on the toilet,
yes, sir, yes, sir.
especially
And
since you're sick.
oh, actually, no, it's been pretty good, but I'm
Okay.
sure they don't want to
Okay.
hear about that. Uh, you were talking Jets, you're talking Zach Wilson, and I'm gonna talk about Mike White. Now, people, you're probably wondering who the fuck is Mike White. Well, he is the starting quarterback for the New York Jets. And guess what? He's a big old bust.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't looking good for the Jets. As you know what? This guy in his career has 5 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. That's his career. This is just the Jets punishing Wilson for not taking responsibility for the loss last week versus New England. So, yeah, this guy is a bust. If you're playing the defense against, I don't even know who if you have Chicago's defense, start them because this is gonna be a field day, and Chicago's gonna go to 4-8.
Yeah, he's a big bust. I don't think he's going to duplicate the game he had last year against the Bengals where he went for 405 and 3 touchdowns. I don't think so. I think this is you nailed it. They're punishing Wilson for not taking responsibility for his horrible play. But you know what? I'm shocked they didn't throw Flacco in. Like, why do you think that is?
Because Flacco sucks.
But Flacco won a couple of games already.
Yeah, I know, but maybe they're just punishing them both. I don't know. I don't know what the Jets are trying to do. They have a good record right now. Like and it is I'm pretty sure it is the whole responsibility thing because I read on an article saying that the coach was not happy and was like irritated with the
Zach
fact that
Wilson.
Wilson wasn't taking responsibility. So obviously it's a shot at Wilson to get his act together.
Do you think he turns it around after the benching?
Not really. He's not that good.
Exactly. I know for a fact they're regretting not taking Justin Fields. Fucking stupid. Typical Jets. Typical Jets. Fuck them. They're they're basically playing their way out of the playoffs.
I mean, Justin Fields isn't doing better than the
Justin Fields
team.
isn't doing what?
Better than the team. They're 3-8.
Yeah, because his team's garbage. What does he have around him besides him? Maybe Montgomery and Herbert,
But what do the Jets have? They don't have good wide receivers.
They have great defense, and their wide receivers are way better than the Chicago Bears.
I don't even know who the Bears have or
They
who
have
the Jets have,
Claypool,
really.
they have Mooney, Komet.
Claypool's decent.
He just got there.
True. But you know what? Yeah, Mike White, he's a bust. Melky, who do you got?
All right. Well, since you brought him up earlier, because he got you 3 squares apparently, we're going to talk about Treylon Burks. Last week, had 8 targets, 7 receptions, and 111 yards. Set a career high at half with 6 catches for 60 yards before breaking the century mark with a 51-yard basket catch within 2 minutes. Burks showcased his upside going forward. You can expect him to be a wide receiver 3 or something along those lines and a key contributor for the Titans offense. I'm going to label him a boom this week and a boom going forward.
I like it. I like it a lot. If you didn't pick him up, I would have. Because, yeah, he's going to be a boom. I mean, I do have a lot of wide receivers, though, so I probably didn't need another one. But, no, he is a huge boom in my books and going forward.
All right, who do you got next, Goobs?
I got the new number 1 running back for the Denver Broncos.
Denver Broncos.
Latavius Murray has now got the starting role in Denver with Melvin Gordon being dropped and Chase Edmonds injured. So I'm going to label him a boom this week versus the 6th-ranked Carolina D. Murray put up 17 carries for 49 yards and a touchdown last week versus the Raiders. If you're in need of a flex player, I look for Murray this week because he's going to be a boom.
He's a boom for now.
For now.
For now. Edmonds will come back. They're just activating Boone from the IR, and Marlon Mack is also going to be playing. So it's going to be a running back by committee, but he should get the big push because he is the best back of the 3. So, yeah, for now, he's a boom, but I wouldn't trust him going forward after this.
No, I agree. Who is your last boom or bust?
Let's take it to the Nolia and tight end Juwan Johnson. Goobs, he's a big old boom.
Big old boom?
Big old boom. He's a big boy. 3 receptions, 47 yards, and a touchdown last week. Johnson has scored in 3 straight and has 5 touchdowns in his last 5 games. Red Rifle loves finding him in the red zone. Although he has a tough matchup against the 49ers, he's still good to go. Give him a shot because he's one of the only bright spots going in New Orleans. He's a boom this week, and actually going forward, I would take a chance on him.
Yeah, he's a boom. I agree. They're all looking good. So, yeah, I give him a boom.
Do you give him a boom like the size of the stuff you drop in the John, or like what kind of boom we talking about? Big splish splash?
No, like a plop. Like you ever watch
Like a horse
those?
flop?
You ever watch those like really funny TikToks where like something small gets thrown into the water and then they make that little plop sound?
Yeah, well, I've seen
Yeah,
it on TikTok.
that's the boom he's making. That little
Oh, okay.
plop sound.
It's not like a horse standing there minding his own business, and all of a sudden his tail lifts up and he just starts dropping.
No, it's not that type of boom.
All right. Well, we're gonna end this off with Toonie Bets, our favorite segment, the last segment, the one Bob Walker himself created. I'm gonna kick it off with 2 teams we mentioned a lot this podcast. It's the Bills versus the Lions, and I'm going Buffalo. Bills need this win. They just won in Detroit, trying to make history, winning in Detroit 2 times in a season. Josh Allen will play better. He wants the gobbler. He's looking for that turkey leg. And it's a must win because they're trying to catch the Dolphins. So pick the Bills this week against the Lions.
All right. I like that pick. The Bills Twitter account sent a message to Buffalo Twitter account last week when they played in Detroit. They said, "Don't break tables." As like they sent the pictures like, we set you up nicely, but please don't break the tables. But the Bills are breaking tables this week in Detroit.
Are they breaking tables with Thanksgiving dinner on them?
No, because then you ruin Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, you don't like turkey.
You eat the food first and then you break the table.
All right. There's a method to the madness.
There is. All right, and I am going with an upset.
Yeah, this is madness.
Packers over the Eagles. I think the Packers take the Eagles 34-28.
You're so wrong. Even, okay, you know Rodgers has a broken finger, right?
Perfect. That makes him play even better.
And you know he's not going to be stuffing that bird because the Eagles are that much better.
That's okay. I still think the Packers over the Eagles.
And just because he has a new toy in Watson doesn't mean they're going to win. Like, is Jones going to run wild on the Eagles? I don't think so.
No, he's gonna throw wild. They're gonna do some trickery.
Now, this is going to be the first time the bird gets one over the person cooking because there's no way the Eagles are losing this game.
All right.
I'll double down on it.
I beg to differ. You double down. Anyways, let's get to Bob Walker and his toonie bet.
Well, hello, boys. Ba here for another week of Toonie Bets. I can't believe it's week 12 and the NFL season's almost over. I know it sucks to think about. And also how close our fucking division is, even when I only have one loss. I mean, all 4 teams. Now Washington's starting to win. What is this? All right. My bet, a lot of duds this week, I think, game-wise. So I'm actually going to take the Seahawks versus Raiders. Seattle at home. Raiders are coming off a win, so I definitely think Seattle's winning. Raiders are going to be typical Raiders. That division is fucked. Geno looks way better. The defenses on both teams are terrible, and I just think that Seattle's going to pull off the offense more. They're at home, coming off the bye. So, yeah, my pick Seattle. Can't wait to hear yours. Peace, boys.
All right, I like it. I like Seattle. Geno Smith is way better than Russell Wilson. So, yeah, I'll take Seattle.
Yeah, Geno, the Bronco Slayer, 100%. They're at home. They have the loudest crowd in the NFL with that 13th man. Or is it 12th man? 12th man. Yeah,
12th man.
My mistake. Wrong sport.
It's okay.
And this is one bird that's going to cook in Seattle. So I like Seattle. The Raiders are a big hot mess. And I mean, they could win, but does anybody really want them to? Nah. Go Seattle.
Yeah. All right. That concludes Show Us Your TDs. I want to thank the podcast, Not After 30. Anthony, Melky, thank you for doing this with me. Thanks for putting up with my COVID-ness right now. But yeah, I appreciate all of it. Melky, what do you got for us?
Oh yeah, no, thanks, buddy. Thanks for trooping this out. I know it couldn't have been easy for you. This year for Thanksgiving, I've got I got one idea. You Americans should make turfucking. Now, you know what that is? It's when you start to stuff your turkey with duck and then stuff it with a chicken, but then you say fuck it and order Chinese food instead. I just want to thank NA30, Anthony, Mustard, Sports For You podcast. Check them out on Townhouse Media. And you Yankee Doodles for having Thanksgiving in November. And last but not least, coffee. I've been living off that stuff all week. I'm fucking tired, man.
Melky, how do you like your coffee?
I like my coffee like I like my women. Without a penis.
Oh man. All right. Well, that concludes Show Us Your TDs. I'm sick with COVID. That's Melky over there. Have a good night.
No. Before we go,
Oh.
one last thing. Why does Thanksgiving feel like a date with Bill Cosby?
Ooh, I don't know.
You wake up 3 hours later drowsy and wondering why you feel like you just got stuffed with dark meat.
All right. That concludes Show Us Your TDs.
And
Peace.
and happy Thanksgiving, America. Fuck yeah.
Okay.